Hi guys, welcome to another podcast. I'm really excited to be here once more talking with you. I hope that you were able to check the other podcast that I have out on various topics pertaining to parenting and teaching. So today's topic has to do with reflective practice and how we can actually use it to become better at helping children, even bettering ourselves as individuals. So stay tuned and I hope you really enjoy today's podcast. Welcome to this podcast, Dynamic Parent and Teacher Training with educational psychologist Alec Delancey. This podcast is dedicated to promoting positive performance in children through simple behavior modification. Alright, so welcome to our podcast today, and we are talking about reflective practice. The question though is, what exactly is reflective practice? Now, for a number of persons, reflective practice could mean a number of things. But this is what reflective practice means for me, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can actually use reflective practice to help not just yourself, but to help your children or the children that you take care of. What is reflective practice? Now, reflective practice, it's not just daydreaming. You know, sometimes people, they may think, okay, well, maybe I just go and I think creatively or I meditate. Exactly what is reflective practice? Well, reflective practice is not daydreaming and it's not just meditating about something random. While those sort of practices may have their place, reflective practice really has to do with thinking about how to improve, thinking about how to improve my situation, how to improve the lives of others, how to develop myself so I can communicate more with people, how to get my message across, looking at the kind of feedback that I got and how I could improve based on the feedback that I receive, or how I can actually give the best feedback or best critique of to a person so that at the conclusion they can truly benefit from what I have to say. So again, reflective practice, it's really about looking at how to improve and how to give feedback and how to assist persons so that they can be all that they possibly can. So for me, that's pretty much what reflective practice is. The question though now is, how can I become a reflective practitioner? You may be asking yourself that. For some of you, you may have heard the term before, reflective practice. For others, it may be a little new. And but this, after this podcast has completed, you will have a clear idea of exactly how you can become a reflective practitioner. Now, in any career, any job that a person is involved in, it is important to reflect. Reflect. If you are a physician, think about the kind of cases you will have had during the course of the day, during the course of the week or the month, or the type of cases that you find you have coming to your office or to the hospital or to the clinic that you're working in. So that's how a physician will think about how he or she will reflect by looking at the kind of cases, type of cases, with the objective of making some kind of improvement, either an improvement in how he or she treats and meets with those cases, or to identify specific problems that people may be having so that those problems could be targeted. For a classroom teacher, reflective practice may mean sitting down and actually thinking about the lesson plan and how maybe Gardner multiple intelligences could be used to meet with the various learning styles that a child may have. Similarly, with parenting, a parent may sit down and say, okay, let's see, how could I transfer information? How can I get my child to do their chores, or when they're home to do homework, or to behave in a way that I want them to, that is appropriate for the household or appropriate for the community. So this is reflective practice in motion. So how can I become a reflective practitioner now? In whatever you're doing, you're interacting with children, and that's the focus here. You're interacting with children. So how can you become a reflective practitioner? Well, first of all, you have to recognize that there's a need to reflect, or a need to improve. And once that has been done, then you can now venture off into becoming a reflective practitioner. So what do you want to improve? It means you will have to, one, set some time aside to think about that specific thing that you want to improve in. Or if it's you want to give feedback, again, you'll have to set some time aside, think about it. what kind of feedback do I want to give? What kind of words do I want to use? What is the best appropriate time to choose to give this kind of feedback? So that's the kind of thinking you will have to set time aside to do. And I always encourage persons to keep a journal with them so that they can write down this information so that they don't forget, because that's how our minds are. We our concentration, our focus, it's being vied for by different distractions. And some of the distractions, in no way I'm saying it's mundane things. Some of the things that distract us from getting time to reflect, it's things that we have to do. So we may have to go to work, we may have to go to school, maybe we're doing evening classes as an adult, we're doing some evening classes, maybe it's to improve ourselves or improve our job, maybe we have to go to check out some kind of medical health, so that's fine for our time. Or maybe we're taking care of a ailing parent or a ailing relative. So those things are important. You may be taking care of your children, so even that takes a large chunk of your time. But the point is to really improve in how you can actually help that child in a more meaningful way. It is important to set time aside to reflect on how you can actually assist that child. And always, again, I just want to reiterate this. Its emphasis is good. Make sure that you have a pencil and a pad and you write it down. Or if you have maybe a smartphone or your laptop, or maybe you have your tablet or whatever, you take a note of it so that you don't forget it. You can always refer to it and be in a best position to really help that child based on whatever notes that you're taking that you can reflect on. So setting time aside is crucial, is very important. Some persons find it also easy for them to check out a YouTube video on exactly what reflective practice is. So I know I'm giving you content here, I know I'm giving you the information. I'm also saying to you, if you want additional information, you want clarity, you could always drop a link and ask me a question or so. But the point is, if you want to get additional information, you don't want to drop me a link or ask me any question, that's okay. You can go to YouTube and you can type in reflective practice for parents or reflective practice generally, and you will get some information that can truly help you. The objective is to help you so that you can become a reflective practitioner, and that's my concern, and that's what I want you to do, to become better at giving feedback to your children, better at even receiving feedback from them, and helping them in the best possible way. So another thing you can do, you can read books. There are a number of books out there. Ebooks, for example, you can go to one of the platforms. I use Amazon. You can check out Amazon, see ebooks. Some of the ebooks are really cheap, but the information that they have, it's very valuable. It's really good information. Or if you want hard copy books, you could also purchase it there, or you can go into one of your local stores in your country and get that information. Get a book on reflective practice so that you can really understand what is involved, using the principles, using the understanding of reflective practice, so that you can again help your child, help yourself, so that you can help that child. Another area you can use, or another thing you can do, it's focusing on people who do reflective practice. Ask a question. How do you reflect? What are some of the things you reflect on, and how has it been useful to you? So you can ask a person that, what are you reflecting on, or how has your reflection been useful to you? Because if you have not consciously reflect on how you can actually improve your situation or improve the lives of your children, then it may not be something that you're accustomed doing consciously. It doesn't mean you haven't done it before. I'm quite sure everyone who is alive, they will have you will have done some reflective practice, but it may not be a conscious thing. You may not have looked at it in this kind of clinical or this focused way. But now I'm saying to you that you can reflect in a very clinical focus, reflect with an objective of really seeing how you can improve yourself, your thinking, your understanding of your child, your understanding of their basic needs, of their concerns, of their fears, of their struggles, reflecting on what may be of conflict to them, reflecting on how you can actually help them to help themselves or help them to solve specific problems. Keeping in mind, you have, as an adult, as a parent, as a teacher, you have information that a child will not have had. And rightly so, because you will live longer, you may have engaged various experiences or persons or situations and dealt with it in ways either it was dealt properly, or you may have dealt with situations in a very negative way, and you will have gathered that information, seeing how you dealt with it and the kind of results, and therefore being in a better position right now. You can reflect on that so that you can help that child if that child is experiencing a similar situation, so that they don't make the same mistake. If it is that you did make a mistake and it ended up bad, they don't have to make that same mistake. You can actually help them to reason, to rationalize, to think about their situation and what's going on with them, so that they can make the best possible choice and have the best possible solution. So reflective practice is very important. Children who may have been bullied, for example, you grow up, you're now an adult, you know how you will have dealt with it, you know how it will have impacted on you. So you're in a good position now to help a child, be it your child or children in the neighborhood, or if it's in your classroom. Be in a position, after reflecting on how you dealt with it, how it impacted you, maybe someone spoke to you, what they said to you, how what they said added or took away from the situation, or probably it made you more stressed out more than anything else, or maybe you found some kind of solution to the problem, and therefore you were able to deal with the bullying situation. So you can reflect on those things, and you're growing up and be in a good position to now understand the perspective of a child who might also be experiencing bullying. Because I remember talking to kids and I said, so what's going on with you? And they say, sometimes I'm being bullied a little bit. And I may say, okay, I guess you're really hurt by it. And they may say something like this, no, don't worry about it. I'm okay. I'm a big boy. I'm a big girl. But the point is, true, they may be a big boy or a big girl, but they have emotions. And bullying affects people in a very psychological way. It affects their emotions. It affects how they may view themselves. It affects how they may view others. So I am now in a position, after reflecting on the answer that they give, to think about what may be the possible trauma or the possible challenges that they may be experiencing emotionally or psychologically, and therefore being in a good position to say something like, well, I know there are some people, they may not be affected by it as others. But if you were in a position, so I'm talking to them here, if you're in a position to help someone who is experiencing bullying, what can you say to them? And then I listen to how they reason, and many times you realize that they have not dealt with the situation, they have not found a specific way of coping, and or they may have found a way of coping, but the methods or the method or methods that they are using to cope, it's not a positive method. It might be that they're self-harming. It might be that they are involved in using drugs, be it over-the-counter drugs or illegal drugs. It may be that they have a negative view of themselves. They may be playing down their talents and abilities, and that could be affecting their schooling, affecting their outlook in life, what they want to achieve. And therefore, given all that information, after talking with them, because of reflecting on how I can help this child, I'm now able to really focus on tying down specifics so that we can discuss. That will not have been possible if I did not reflect on what bullying can mean for a child, what I experience, as the case may be. Another question that we have to ask ourselves is, how is reflective practice related to my teaching or my transferring of information to a person, or how is reflective practice related to my understanding of what a person may say to me? Well, I need to think in terms of this. As I continue to reflect, what am I learning? Am I learning that there are situations that may not be straightforward? Am I learning that there are situations that may call for a little deeper level thought? Am I learning that maybe there are some things it's straightforward and maybe I can use this word over using another word? Is it that after reflecting, I probably use this method of communicating with my child and it didn't work, and therefore they didn't learn from it. They kept doing the same thing over and over. They kept engaging in the same behavior again and again. The behavior actually became something that it's a habit now. So after looking at all of these, I can now say to myself, how is my reflective practice related to my teaching? Is it that if I don't reflect as much and I just give information, I realize it doesn't work? But if I reflect a little bit more, if I ask myself a little bit more questions, if I use more time to reflect and to meditate on some of the responses that I've given in the past, or what other persons have tried with their children and whether or not it worked, then I can start seeing for myself if reflective practice is really related to my teaching others, or my transferring of knowledge to others, or my accepting what they are saying and internalizing it and making sense of it. How is my reflective practice related to my teaching or even in myself, my learning? These are some critical areas that I have to focus on to see if reflective practice is actually making a difference in my life or making a difference in the lives of others. Once I reflect and I understand myself, I understand my thoughts, I understand how people can perceive things differently from me, even if they are my children, even if I may have lived much longer than they did. I probably am decades older than they are. But their perspective, do I understand their perspective? Because they may be seeing the same situation, but seeing it differently. They may be seeing that, okay, I can go out and party and have a good time. I can drink, I can smoke, and I will not get addicted to it. Do I understand where that kind of idea or that perception is coming from with my children? Or do I simply just fly off the handle and just become very aggressive or very annoyed with them? So I must see that if I sit down and think about what is going on with them, why are they saying what they just said? Why is it that they are feeling this way? If I can take time off and do that, it puts me in a better position to see how this reflection now can actually help them. Because if I sit down, I think about what they said, I formulate a response, I probably think about it, I ask someone else, maybe someone who is a little more mature in this area or have experience in this area a little bit more than I have, and then I'm in a better position to talk to this child. And when I talk to this child, I realize that they got it. They realize that their view with regards to partying late and not being in a position to go to school the next morning, or having a hangover so that they can't go and do the exam, or if it is that they don't see why playing violent video games can really impact their lives, and how we can actually make them more predisposed to violent acts or violent actions or deviant behaviors. With my reflective practice, I can see now, if I think about how to respond to them, what illustrations to use, what questions to use to get an understanding of how they are thinking, if I can see that my reflective practice is related to my teaching, then it makes me a better individual. It puts me in a position where I can actually transfer better information to a child, and I can receive feedback from the child and even give further feedback, so that we can all have a clarified understanding of each other's thoughts and why I'm saying what I'm saying, and my perspective, and the child being able to realize that, okay, maybe I didn't think it through based on what I'm hearing mommy or daddy or this mature adult is saying to me, and that's how children learn. They may not upfront agree with us still, even though we may have done in-depth reflective practice on responding to them in a specific situation. But the point remains with consistency and developing that kind of trust and that connection with that child or those children, they will start relying a little bit more on us and seeing a little bit how we are actually looking out for them or looking out for their best interests. But that is only possible if we reflect and we see ways in which we can actually help them to improve. Once they apply advice, suggestions, ideas that we have given to them because of our reflective practice, they will start trusting us more if those ideas or those advice, if it starts working and they're seeing how it's working, they will indeed come to us for even more advice. They will feel open to just let us know what's going on with them so that they can get solutions to whatever challenge or whatever problem they are experiencing. In conclusion, I want you to know that you can do reflective practice anywhere. Preferably do a quiet place. Maybe if you can operate with music. I know some people who they may be able to play some light or soft music in the background, and they can think about situations. They can sit down with a pencil and a pad, and they can think about how to approach this child, how to help this child to see things differently, and that works for them. Probably some people will do it early in the morning before they go off for work, or others when they come late at night, they may sit down and think about what transpired with their child today. Maybe it's a conversation they had. They told the child they'll get back to them. So they will sit down in the night now and say, okay, let me see. Maybe write down all the points that the child raised, and they'll look at how they can respond to each one of those questions in a way that at the conclusion of the discussion, the child will have either understood or become closer to finding some kind of solution to whatever they are experiencing. So again, I want you to continue to see reflective practice as very important. For a child, reflective practice is also important for you as the adult. The conclusion, you want the child to have some understandings. You want the child to realize that they too can engage in reflective practice independent of you. And it's all about showing the child that this is a process, this is a practice that they can engage in, not just to solve situations involving the one that you're trying to help them with, but they can use reflective practice in various situations so that they too can find some kind of resolution to another issue that they may be experiencing, or even be in a position to help others. I often talk about children in really good positions to help other children to get clarity. Sometimes as an adult, we're talking to a child and we are using all the illustrations and all the questions and all the reasonings, but that child is not getting it. But another child, their own age or someone around their contemporary, will sit with them and will probably use the same words or the same ideas, and that those two children will come to some kind of understanding, some clarity, and be able to help each other. Or the one who is helping the other one to see the clarity comes to that one. So really use reflective practice to engage your child, to understand, to learn, but also think in terms of you teaching that child based on social learning how to do that independent of you, how to reflect independent of you, as well as how to help others so that they too can also reflect and think. This is what I have for you today. It was really a pleasure talking with you. I really have fun making these podcasts and transferring the information. And I really encourage you to continue to listen to all the others and see how much you can truly benefit from them. It was really a pleasure again. All the best and take care. Music in this podcast, Zigzag and Exit the Premises, was brought to you by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com.